So in our kitchen, we have this outdated monstrosity that somehow snuck its way into our home when it was built in 2001. I'm going to show you how I took it and made it a little bit more modern. So yeah, it seems like these are in houses all over built in the 80s and 90s, but we are no longer loving it. What I would love though is to know how these became popular. It's like someone had leftover fixtures from a commercial building and then they're trying to put them in a kitchen and someone was like, "You can't do that." And then they were like, "Well, what if I build a box around it?" And then everyone was like, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea."
That's a great idea. A great plan.
Anyway, the actual fixtures were pretty easy to get down. Just a couple of screws and then disconnecting all the wires. And then before I take down the box, I'm going to mark the center and then cut the hole where I want the new fixture to be. I got lucky because it's also right next to a stud. Now, taking down the actual box was pretty exciting. My neighbor helped me, but it was still pretty heavy. Unfortunately though, I did not record it, so you'll just have to use your imagination. Now I need to attach the new electrical box to the ceiling joist, and to be able to nail that in, I'm going to cut a very special shaped hole in the ceiling. Now the panel that will be the backdrop for the new light won't be attached directly to the ceiling, so I'm going to use some 1x2 spacers. I want to attach those to ceiling joists, but the popcorn texture makes it hard to use a stud finder. So instead, I'm just going to nail like 1,000 holes until I can kind of approximate where the joists are. And I say kind of approximate because the marks I made were not correct, and I had to make some more holes to find the joists. If that doesn't convince you that the name of this channel is informative and not entertainment, I don't know what will. Anyway, next I got to move the wires from the old electrical box to the new electrical box. And to do that, I'm going to connect red to white, black to red. Just kidding, you just match the colors, and then I'll run the wires to the new box. Now, is running the wires this way to code? Hard to say, but I'm going to put a cap over the old box, and it's probably close. That wire going to the new box and that big hole will just be covered by the beadboard. Speaking of the beadboard, those are sold in 4x8 sheets, so I'll go ahead and get that cut down a size, and then I'll have to cut a hole in the middle so that the new light fixture can stick through it. And can't do math, so I'll go ahead and mark that hole twice, and then cut it with a 3-inch hole saw. Now, beadboard already comes painted and primed, or maybe it's just primed, I don't know. But I thought it'd be a good idea to try to paint it more, and I did this with spray paint, and this ended up looking awful because it didn't cover very evenly. So if I go back and do it again, I'd either roller it or just leave it alone because it looked pretty good already. Then my neighbors will help hold it while I put it on the ceiling.
We put the tall guy on the big ladder and short on the small ladder.
Looks okay, but if you want an exact measurement, we can get that.
Yeah, that sounds mighty good. You over there standing on a ladder 6 feet taller than mine.
Do you want me over there?
Well, not now.
Is that live?
After the beadboard is up, I'll go ahead and hang the new light fixture. I won't bore you with how to do this. There's probably 1,000 other videos on YouTube that tell you how to do it. But the hardest part is probably just getting someone else to hold the fixture while you screw it in. Thankfully, my wonderful wife was here to help me. After this is done, we'll still have a gap between the beadboard and the ceiling. So the next step is going to be to fill that in with trim. I'll miter the ends of this pre-painted trim and then attach it to the ceiling using glue and my nail gun. Now, the tallest part of this trim was supposed to be the same height as the beadboard was offset from the ceiling, but it was so close and the beadboard wasn't perfectly flat compared to the ceiling that there were some high spots and some low spots. So I tried to cover that up with caulking, but if I did it again, I'd probably choose a different trim that was a little bit taller and then purposely have the beadboard closer to the ceiling than the edge of the trim and then just caulk that corner instead of having to have high and low spots to fix. Anyway, for the total cost of this project, the beadboard was $28, the trim was $18, the new electrical box was $4, the new light fixture was $20, and the light bulbs were $19, for a grand total of only $89. So here's what it looked like before and after. If you watched this far into the video, hopefully you found this interesting, and if you did, now comes the annoying part where I ask you to consider subscribing. But by all means, don't make a rash decision, and thanks for watching.